Oh, how cold it is. In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we are back with part 2. We're talking about mental health statistics. And I know that sounds kind of boring, but it's a lot of information about what's prevalent in today's mental health world as far as issues and problems. And as usual, we're giving away free stuff. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
This sounds like something for the authorities in Detroit.
Well, joke's on you. I'm living to 102 and then die, like the city of Detroit.
Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit.
Spawned in the hellfires of Motown.
Oh.
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
Stationed in Drambuie. It's worse than Detroit.
We did not have, as a unit, the confidence that we felt like we needed to beat Detroit.
Let's go to Detroit.
Now you're talking, brother.
I don't think so. He plays for Detroit now.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school. I know where Detroit is.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? It is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We are back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
You know, you've been here for a bit.
Yeah, I've been here a bit because we just finished up the Man Cave Happy Hour podcast. You guys can jump over to there and listen to that one because that's very entertaining.
But I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I really enjoy having you on the Man Cave Happy Hour.
Oh, I love being here. Yeah.
And you just add an element, and it's another voice, it's another opinion.
Well, sure. Well, and plus I get to drink, so you know.
I didn't say that.
That's a bonus.
That's all. That's all you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yes,
get to stay and we get to try different types of bourbons and spirits, and it's good. Yeah.
It's
so
fun.
That is Matt Fox, the other voice you hear, by the way.
Yes, you do.
And we're here. Speaking of podcasts and doing other podcasts, we're in the Palatial Podcast Your Voice Southfield Studios.
Thank you.
Hanging out on a Monday evening, doing a podcast and enjoying our beverage from the Man Cave Happy Hour.
Yes, and
which is fantastic, by the way. The Clint, I'm still enjoying the Clint Eastwood.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I did the Clint Eastwood, and then August was gracious enough to make me a old fashioned with the rum.
That's right.
The bamboo.
Yeah, the bamboo rum.
Right. And,
yes.
And I have a little sidecar of chartreuse.
There we go. I finished my chartreuse and I still have a little sip of blackberry brandy sitting right next to me as well. So
it's been
times are good, man.
It's been a great night. I'd say that.
All right, folks, let me tell you where you can find me. Busy lately. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Go there. I just booked another show today. So we're in the midst of prom season. And I know, here's the thing. Those of you who are from the Detroit area, they don't do after proms in this area. They do grad night shows. But other parts of the country, they do prom night parties to keep the kids safe and in line.
You're in Iowa.
I was in Iowa.
Again.
For the second weekend in a row, and I go back again to Iowa this weekend for a third time.
So would you say you're Iowa famous?
I am probably Iowa famous. And here's the thing, because a lot of these Iowa shows, they're repeats. Like so the first weekend I was there was a repeat. Last week was a new venue. I'd not done their school before.
Okay.
And then this coming weekend is a high school I've not done before.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll see. Yeah. Well, we'll
see
how it goes.
You are Iowa famous.
And then after the Iowa run is done, I get a week or two reprieve, and then grad nights start near the middle of May. So it's a busy time. But if you're still in need of entertainment for your post prom or your post grad night party, go to my website, motorcityhypnotist.com/shows. You can have a quote within minutes. You can book within minutes, and it'll be locked in.
Fair.
My social media, Facebook and YouTube, both Motor City Hypnotist, and Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok are all Motor City Hypno. And as usual, every we've done, going way back to episode number 1, text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510 to receive your free hypnosis guide. Within a few moments, you'll get a text message with that guide attached, and also a link to my business page, my Motor City Hypnotist business page, where you can leave a review, which would be greatly appreciated.
Leave a review, say what you mean.
Yeah.
If it's positive, great. Just speak your mind.
Yeah. And really, I acknowledge, and I've said this on the podcast before, I'm terrible at leaving reviews. But here's the thing, and this is just psychology. It's human nature. People typically don't leave reviews unless it's a negative review, because you get more emotionally charged when something negative happens. And we're much less likely to promote good things because it's good. You don't feel that instinct to lash out and say how unhappy you were.
Sure.
But reviews help. So I would appreciate it if you could please leave a review. That would be fantastic. And not only with if you text and get your hypnosis guide, but also whatever podcast platform you're listening on.
Like, subscribe,
connect, whatever that is, and leave a review there as well. Because let's podcast. There's a billion podcasts out there, and to get noticed or to get more people, it's a big space.
Yes.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
So reviews help, and that gets more people attracted to us.
Do it.
All right, we're ready.
Are we?
Yes.
All right.
Here we go.
That's how winning is done.
All right. So,
All righty.
What are we looking at?
Got a good story. This comes from Georgia.
Okay.
A Georgia preteen saved her older brothers from a potentially perishing in a fire that consumed the left side of the family's 2-story home.
Preteen, 11, 12 years old, saved family. Okay.
She's been hailed by the family and the community as a hero who saved the most important things the family had while everything else was destroyed in the fire.
Okay.
The Johnson family of 6 had only moved into the house a few months before the fire started last Monday in their garage.
Oh my God.
As it raged across the ground floor, Macy arrived home on the school bus and saw the fire.
Macy is the preteen.
Macy is the preteen.
Okay.
Yeah. She's 12.
Wow.
I'm sorry. It's in the title of the article, which I didn't.
12-year-old
preteen. Yeah,
preteen. Okay.
12-year-old girl. WJCL News didn't say whether she knew her 2 older brothers were in the house, but in any case, she ran to the door and began screaming into the house that there was a fire. My oldest son was preparing to go to work. He was in the shower. Again, had no idea until she heard her screaming. Said Macy's mother, Lisa Johnson, who said their second oldest son was asleep in his room over the garage.
Oh my goodness, where the fire was.
Yes. She's an incredible girl, and I'm very proud of her. Firefighters from Richmond Hill and Bryan County arrived quickly and stopped the fire before it consumed the entire house. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Okay.
Hard as it is to know that we've lost almost everything, that we have a lot of memories, a lot of good things. We have each other and we have God, Mrs. Johnson said.
Fair.
And I have faith in him.
Capital H.
Yep.
Yes.
So that is, that's a story. That's where it ends. So
that goes back to fight or flight.
Yep.
A 12-year-old young lady.
Yep.
Fight or flight. She fought.
She did. She knew she had to do something.
She had to do something.
Yeah.
Her brother's in the shower. She didn't know where her brothers were in the
No,
house.
she did
One's
not.
in the
She
shower.
didn't even know if they were in the house.
Yeah, well, yeah. One's in the shower. One is sleeping.
Yep.
And she went in and she did what she felt she needed to do. She fought for her brothers. She just didn't know, and it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
It was the right.
So here's Macy. Here's a picture of Macy.
Good for her.
And also you can see a picture of the house, the fire on the house.
Yeah, on the garage.
Yeah.
And the brother was in the shower over said garage. If you see the picture, the entire garage is engulfed in flames.
It is.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
And that she
would
ran
get that.
towards that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I love it.
So Macy, good job. Definitely winner of the week material.
Thank you, Macy.
That's how winning is done.
So Dave,
Yeah.
I am doing a speech
Yes.
about fight or flight. And there are other responses. There's also
freeze,
and fawn.
Yep.
But the speech is all about being a duck. You stay calm, cool, collected on top.
Yep.
And you paddle like hell underneath.
Right.
So that is the whole mantra of fight or
Nice.
flight, is being a duck, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that I will inspire a few folks in my audience that will look at that and be like, that makes a lot of sense, you know?
Well, yeah.
And for this young lady, you know, that I might incorporate her into my speech.
Sure.
Because that's fight or
That's
flight.
a great example of yes, it's fight or flight, freeze or
Yes.
fawn.
Yes.
And she acted.
Yep. And then it's the adaptability after the fact. You know, you have to be able to adapt to the fight or flight response, the freeze or fawn response. You have to be able to adapt to it.
Yeah.
In whatever situation that you're in. So I am so proud of this young lady.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, back to it.
Yes, back to it. So we're on part 2 today, folks, of mental health statistics. We're kind of, I kind of got into this because, you know, sometimes there's like an ebb and flow of specific issues that come up, and there's no really rhyme or reason for it.
Sure.
It's just what I see as far as who I see in my office every day. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of dig into this. So there is a part 1, and it's an hour episode that was last week. So you could listen to that one after we're done here, or you can stay here and go back to that. You'll get all the information. What I wanted to do was follow up and kind of going beyond the numbers a little bit. So we're going to go a little bit deeper, not just into statistics, but what they mean like across different populations, whether it be men, women, ethnicities, old, young. Because here's the thing, numbers are fine, but they don't tell the whole story.
Of course not.
Of who is affected, how diagnoses differ, you know, what trends, really trends is the best way to describe it. What's happening now that we need to be aware of. So I'm going to start right now with just understanding what a diagnosis is.
Okay.
Now, in theory, we know diagnosis is we figure out what's going on. We figure out what's wrong. And then that's your diagnosis. Here's the thing with mental health, and here's the challenge. And one of the things as a therapist I've always struggled with is having to give a diagnosis.
Okay.
Because for me, and I know I've probably shared this in so many words, if not exact words, before on the podcast, but sometimes when people hear something, they latch onto it, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
You have said those words.
So and maybe it's not worded exactly like that, but I know I've conveyed that sentiment before. Because a lot of people will come to me and I'll see them and I'll say, oh, I saw a therapist 20 years ago. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And then after talking to somebody for a long time, or maybe a couple, 3 sessions, I don't really see that.
Because that was 20 years ago.
Well, yeah. And plus 2, again, we have to die. And here's kind of the sad truth of it. In order to get paid by insurance companies, you have to give a diagnosis. That's... You don't get paid unless you diagnose someone, and that to me has always been very bothersome.
I hear you, and I understand where you're coming from, because you run a business.
Yep.
You are a therapist. You are a professional therapist. You do everything by the book. Are insurance company pushing that envelope to force folks, therapists, to make a diagnosis?
Here's the thing. In order to bill an insurance company, you must have what's called I'm drawing a total blank.
It's okay.
It's a session code,
Okay.
and it says what type of session you're doing. So for example, and you guys, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, but a 90837 is a full session, 53 minutes.
Okay. Or more.
A 90832 would be 16 minutes to 38 minutes.
See,
so they're different. They're different diagnosis, or they're different codes for the length of the treatment, and also the location of the treatment, whether it's in person or telehealth.
Okay.
But in order to bill the insurance, we must also have a diagnosis attached to these.
And that's where I'm stuck.
Yes.
So you have someone that has they believe they're stuck in, I have bipolar disorder for the past 20 years.
Yep.
They come to you seeking resources and services.
Right.
And you have to re-diagnose.
Yep. You have to include a diagnosis code.
So it could be the same, or you see somebody for 2-3 sessions and you're like,
sometimes believe I am never, how do I put this without sounding cocky or arrogant?
You're good.
I don't just accept somebody telling me I was diagnosed with this. I want to figure it out myself. I'm going to make my own judgment on that.
That's what makes you the professional in the room.
Yes. But the problem is we do have to diagnose.
Okay.
So in really diagnoses are really just based on symptom patterns, duration, and impact on daily functioning. So if somebody comes to me and says, yeah, I feel really anxious all the time. I don't sleep well. I have panic attacks. I can't focus because I'm always worried something bad is going to happen.
Okay.
At that point, even just with those few statements, I can kind of know that you're probably in the anxiety area somewhere. There's probably something going on with that. So I would dig a little bit deeper. With diagnoses, again, there are a lot of categories, and I'm going to be honest and upfront about this because as a therapist, and I convey this to my staff as well, the staff who's working with me, other therapists, I say, don't jump to the most severe diagnosis. Like if somebody comes in, let's say they said, oh yeah, I was diagnosed with schizophrenia 20 years ago. The therapist might just say, okay, schizophrenia is a diagnosis. And they'll go right to that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm like, I'm going to place a diagnosis of what I see. So I don't care if you were diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar.
Right.
What I'm seeing is, mild depressive disorder, single episode.
All right. So 25 years ago, it could have been schizophrenia.
In a very well, the diagnosis. See, and here's the thing, though, we don't know that the diagnosis was correct.
But okay, so 25 years ago, what was the mentality 25, 30 years ago?
Yeah,
and now we have so much more data at our fingertips where we can say, okay, it may not have been full blown skits. It could be something that is
and you're right, because a lot of times, and again, the general symptoms of schizophrenia are delusions, hallucinations.
Sure.
And here's the thing, though, you can exhibit those same symptoms with sleep deprivation.
Sure.
The symptoms are exactly the same.
Have you not read Stephen King's Insomnia?
Of course.
Slept in years, Matt.
Yeah.
Say good night, guys.
Good night,
August. So just hanging on to one diagnosis is I like to be flexible. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
And I always say, start low. We can always, diagnosis can change from session to session.
Sure.
Or over time. So I always tell therapists, let's start with the basics. If you talk to them the first session, you don't get a whole lot of info and you realize, yeah, they have some anxiety symptoms. Let's start with generalized anxiety disorder. And maybe 4 sessions later, the client gives you more information and you realize, oh, they're having a stress reaction. This is probably more like PTSD. So then you can update it. So a diagnosis is in flux. It's not permanent.
What I'm struggling with is that individuals that are coming to you, and I'm glad that people are seeking out resources and therapy.
Yeah.
But they were diagnosed, they were saying you are X, Y, and Z 20 years ago. They are still seeking out resources. They're still seeking out therapy.
Yep.
And you come in with a new avenue, a new way of looking at it. It may not be new, but it's just a different way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Different from what they had before.
Because you are trying to run a business and you have to diagnose.
Yes.
So it's making you dig deeper than what somebody did 20 plus years ago.
Yeah. That's feasible. Yeah, sure.
To me, why, if somebody was being treated properly for the symptoms they were having, why are they still seeking out?
Matt, this is the question I ask clients every day.
And that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah. And you're going to stay stuck because there's no answer. There's no good answer for that.
I'm sure there's not.
Here's the question I have, Matt. You're my client. You come in, we're meeting for the first session.
Sure.
I'm gathering information. I'm like, what are you dealing with? What are you feeling? Have you had treatment before? And somebody will say to me, Matt, you say to me, oh yeah, I had a therapist that I was seeing maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I say, oh, how long were you seeing that therapist? And you say, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And I say, what changed? And they say, nothing. That is common.
That's
unfortunately. That's common.
I shake my head.
I know. That is because here's the thing. And I know I've said this before to people, therapists is just like any other profession. It's just like quack doctors. You're going to get bad therapists sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, you're in charge of your own mental health.
Yes.
And if you have a therapist who you feel is not helping you, you as the client have the right to ask for somebody else or go somewhere else.
But do they know that?
That's why I'm saying it, because I want clients to know this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they'll go to they'll go online and say, oh, counseling,
whoever accepts
counseling dollars on my corner,
whoever accepts my insurance,
and they accept my insurance. So I'm going to call there and get an appointment. And you get an appointment with Joe Schmo, who might just be a lazy therapist. It's a crapshoot. It is. So again, you are in charge of your own mental health. And if you feel like you're not getting the help you need, you have the right to say, I want to see a different therapist or go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot of work. And I know people struggle because with mental health issues, there's also the challenge of just doing daily function, like making phone calls, going online, making an appointment, keeping that appointment with a schedule. It's challenging.
Is that where folks feel it's a full-time job because they're trying to take care of themselves and it's convoluted?
And just think how busy life is. And now you have to find a medical professional, make an appointment that fits your schedule, attend it, and continue to attend it. It's tough. It's difficult sometimes.
It's like trying to find a rheumatologist.
No, it's like trying to find any specialist. No, really, it is. It's just like that.
There is a shortage of rheumatologists in
this
country.
I know, because I have clients who are specifically looking for rheumatologists. Yes. In fact, my wife, and I can share this because she knows. My wife suffers with psoriatic arthritis, so she's been seeing a rheumatologist for years.
We mentioned this in the past,
and unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh, yeah.
I did mention that.
That's my point.
Yeah.
There's a shortage of people who specialize in certain areas of the brain, of behaviors and what have you. There's a shortage, and we are looking towards our future.
Yeah.
Dave, you are a man of a certain age.
Yes, I am.
And you want to retire comfortably.
I would hope someday.
Within the next
10 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a legacy that needs to be led. And who's gonna pick up that torch?
That's a good question. It's a great question.
Who's going to pick up the torch?
Yeah. So as far as diagnoses go, a lot of times clients could have multiple diagnoses. They might have generalized anxiety. They might also have moderate depressive episodes recurrent. So here's the thing. It's called.
You said recurrent. What does that mean?
It means it happens more than once. It's not a single isolated episode.
Within months of each other, days of each other, years?
Well, that's kind of subjective.
You said recurrent, so I'm just trying to understand.
Typically, if somebody's in a depressive state, let's say for a few weeks, and then maybe they go a few months or more and they feel better, but then it just kind of rotates and again to another depressive episode that would be recurrent.
What happened in their life to make it happen?
Well, that's how we ask and how we get to
so
how can we help you with
and that's
this?
where your next diagnosis comes from.
Correct.
So you can build
so we
properly.
talk more, right? But here's the whole thing. It's called comorbidity. That's when you have multiple diagnoses for one person. And here's the thing. In most cases, there are multiple diagnoses. That's just how mental health works. There are so many overlapping symptoms. Somebody can come to me, list their symptoms, and I could say you could have 10 different diagnoses.
Sure.
Because a lot of these symptoms overlap. So let me get into the numbers on this.
Is it like a Scantron A, B, C, D? Or
I know it's just symptomology. That's how we determine it. Nearly 48% of individuals who have been diagnosed have more than one diagnosis. So almost half.
I can understand that. Yes.
Yep. So again, some common combinations. You might think, well, how can you have more than one thing? How do they fit together?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you some common combinations.
Commonalities?
Commonalities.
All right.
Anxiety and depression almost always go together.
Yeah, you're putting your finger. Yes.
Because if you're anxious, you're typically depressed. If you're depressed, most of the time you're anxious. Those kind of live together. So that's not unusual. PTSD and substance abuse. Very common to have both of those together because people turn to substances to cope with trauma, whether that be alcohol, whether it be drugs, whether it be pot.
What are the percentages of veterans in your practice?
Oh, that's a good question. See, I don't know because I have, 8 other therapists working.
And that's a fair answer.
Yeah,
but PTSD and veterans go hand in hand.
Yes. Now, I will say in general, though, because we haven't had an armed conflict
until now,
a major armed conflict
until next week.
Until probably
until 8 o'clock this evening.
I mean, as far as like troops on the ground, probably Vietnam has been our last major conflict war.
What? Desert Storm?
Yeah, but most of that was air raids.
I beg to differ because you had Desert Storm, you had Desert Shield, and then Storm,
and then we had Afghanistan. We were there for a while. But here's the thing: troops are stationed everywhere. They're all over the world.
Yeah.
So, and again, armed conflicts as far as boots on the ground, but it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're flying a plane. That still can be. You can still have PTSD. It doesn't matter what your job is. If you're put into a risky situation or a dangerous situation, that can cause trauma.
Of course.
Yes.
Boots on the ground, boots in the water.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, you're still going to have that. Another common one is ADHD and anxiety.
Yes.
Typically, people who have ADHD are anxious because they can't focus and they feel overwhelmed and they feel stressed out because they can't manage things.
There's a lot to be said for folks that have ADHD and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be said because the ADHD side could be because they're an absolute genius, but they get put into a situation or an environment where there's just too much going around,
too much stimuli,
and they don't know what to do.
Right.
There are a lot of people that have educated themselves, teenagers at that have educated themselves, folks that they've been diagnosed with, you have X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And they are provided tools, resources to deal with their ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do if I am starting to feel anxious? I've been privy to that.
Yeah.
And I'm astounded by the reaction of individuals that have recognized their shortcomings.
Sure.
But it's not a shortcoming. It is genius level people.
I mean, it can be. Sure. I mean, we could say the same thing with autism. That there are so many more people on the spectrum than we even would know or guess.
But now we're still trying to understand the brain because autism, ADHD, anxiety, it all relates. And would that be a diagnosis? Is autism a diagnosis?
Yeah, yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
All
yes.
right.
Yep. Autism is a diagnosis. And here's the difficulty with autism, not to get off on a trend. We're going to do an episode just on that.
Please.
Just as I say that, because we could get off on that. But I will say with autism, it's much more difficult. It's not, how would I put this? It's not difficult to diagnose. It's just there's no straightforward way to diagnose.
No, there's not.
There's no blood test. Yeah. There's no written test. It's all based on information that you collect.
I agree.
So that one is difficult.
I'm listening.
So we think about mental health challenges, and that there's a big difference between men and women as far as the data and the statistics go. In fact, there's huge gender disparities when it comes to mental health. So here's the thing. Women have higher rates of anxiety and depression in general.
That's because of men.
Men. Now here's the thing with men. Men have much lower treatment rates. Men are less likely to seek treatment.
Because they're men.
But that's that Neanderthal brain thinking. Yeah. That is, you're right. And men have higher suicide rates. So women have higher rates of anxiety and depression. They seek treatment more often. Men don't seek treatment and they have higher suicide rates. So for men, I would just say this. Treatment is not a weakness. It's not a sign that you are any less of a man. It's being, in fact, it makes you more of a man because you're going to address something in yourself that is going to benefit your family, your marriage, your kids, your work, whatever.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Absolutely.
Have you ever sought out a therapist?
I have a therapist now.
Okay.
I've had a therapist on and off since I was a teenager.
I've seen therapists in my life.
Yep.
I've seen a therapist through my divorce.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody about what you're
and
going
there's not,
through.
and I really want to hammer that home because again, there's just this, it's that thing in men's thinking that I'm tough, I don't need to do that. That's
it's a stigma.
Yeah, there's a stigma, and the stigma still exists, even though we've come a long way. And I will say, here's I hate to say this even, but here's where social media can be a good thing because it's brought to light a lot of mental health issues that has enabled men to be like, yeah, maybe I should talk to somebody.
If you look
this.
up to Michael Phelps and what have you.
Exactly. Yeah, like figures like that who have acknowledged they have mental health issues.
Yes.
They went and sought help. They feel better. And for a man to do that 40 years ago was probably unheard of to speak out about it.
If you follow Joe Rogan and he's like, hey, I'm going to push psychedelics here, try this and you won't get penalized.
Yeah. Well, on a side note, I just saw today, and this could be a good thing, that Trump signed an executive order that is going to approve research into microdosing psychedelics.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. Yes.
So,
and Rogan was sitting right behind him in the Oval Office.
But see, that is a great thing because I think more research needs to be done into a lot of these unconventional treatment types.
But the way it was, I guess the way it was portrayed was, hey, you could do mushrooms for, and you're not going to get.
No, it's very nuanced.
Yes.
So don't, and I'll clarify it here. Microdosing, you won't even know you're taking it.
No.
That's the whole point of it.
You won't see rainbows.
You're not going to go on some crazy trip for 10 hours. That's not how it works. No, so just to put that out there.
The executive order was to approve the
research,
the research of psychedelics to help mental disorders.
Any research into mental disorders, I'm all for. Yes, let's do it. There's a lot of socioeconomic factors that come into play.
Please do tell.
Lower income people are more prone to stress and reduced access to care.
Well, because they don't have the income to support what they need.
Well, and here's the thing, because again, initially, if I were just a lay person, I would say, well, they have access to health care. They have Medicare or Medicaid. They can use that.
I'm a layman.
Well,
and I'm asking, do they?
No. Well, see, but here's the thing. Some do. A lot of people do not. They have nothing. They have no coverage.
Because they haven't done the research, or
no, I think just because they don't qualify for whatever reason. I have clients. So let me just in general, because again, this could be a whole other tangent too. I have a lot of clients who, technically speaking, because of their mental health challenges, are disabled. They cannot work, and they've applied for disability and they've been denied. They're stuck. They have no resources. They have no access to care because they have no money.
There's a gray area.
There is, and it's never black and white. It's never one or the other. No. There's always an area, but that's anecdotal information that there are a lot of clients who just don't have access to care. And that's still an issue.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That's where everybody should get some type of coverage.
Another population that has much higher mental health challenges are people with disabilities.
Okay, so do you have a disability, David?
I do not. Not that would not the traditional definition of a disability. No.
Do I have a disability, David?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah,
but
when I'm talking about disabilities, you're probably talking about paraplegics.
Okay.
Traumatic brain injuries.
So thank you for putting a definition on
it's not
disability.
just saying I'm disabled.
Right.
That doesn't qualify.
Right.
The problem, though, with disabilities, especially developmentally disabilities, like people who might be, again, on the spectrum, let's go back to that,
Okay.
or maybe people who have some
Autism.
developmental delays. Maybe they're just, maybe they're dyslexic. Maybe they had,
Dyslexia is not dyslexia is nothing to joke about.
No, it's not. And it's considered a disability for sure.
Yeah.
So the issue, though, is these populations experience a much higher rate of anxiety and depression. Where you live makes a difference. Rural versus urban.
I saw an article in regards to the zip code you live in. Specifies.
Yes, that has a lot to do with it. So here's the challenge. A lot of people in rural communities, there's a lack of providers. There's greater stigma.
Yeah.
And in the rates, the symptomology rates are much higher in rural populations.
Why? So let me ask a general question.
Yeah.
Because it's a dumb question at that.
It might not be.
No, it is. The rural community.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Yeah.
It is a generational industry.
Typically. Yep.
Do you see a lot of rural farmers in your practice?
I don't, because we're located in a suburban area.
Correct. So if you were to be in a rural area, what do you think that diagnosis would be? Because they're in a rural community. They waited 3 months to see you. They've been dealing with things for 10 years.
Sure.
The resources aren't there.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll give you a great example, Matt. We just talked about it. I've been driving to Iowa the last 2 weekends, and I'm going again. These are rural populations. Like, I get off the freeway and I have to drive another hour on back roads to get to the location I'm going to.
You're going through cornfields.
Yes, absolutely. Cornfields and farms and silos everywhere. And then I get to the hotel and the school, and it's like 2 stoplight town.
Sure.
So there's some isolation going on there.
Very much so.
And here's the thing. I'm in a suburban area. I work in the suburbs south of Detroit in Taylor. There's access within a 5-mile radius. There's people everywhere. When you go to rural communities, you might have to drive for an hour to see a doctor or to see a therapist.
So here's my
and that hinders treatment because the access is less convenient.
So here's my stupid question for you, David. If they had more resources, if they had somebody that was available within 5-10 miles, do you think it would be better?
Sure.
Of course.
Yes. Yes.
That's
more access is better. Of course.
So why do we have a shortage?
I think it's just based on any rural area. Like when you go into towns like that, like I was just in, there was no McDonald's, there was no grocery store. There's no, it's a general access to services in general when you're in an isolated area.
It doesn't matter where you are, rural, industrial, suburbanite. Why do we have a shortage of professionals?
There's no answer to that.
There isn't.
No,
it's a rhetorical question.
No, it is. Yeah, no, I get it. I know.
I told a few teams this past week. I said, be prepared over the next 10, 15 years because our baby boomers are going to be passing away. We've had a lot of scenarios come at us with beneficiaries, death certificates, this, that, and the next thing. It's going to explode over the next 15, 20 years.
Yes.
I told my team, be prepared, study up and make sure that you understand the steps that you need to take care of the person who has passed away.
Right.
Not the person in front of you, not the relative, not the beneficiary, the person who was passed, because there are a lot of assets that are floating around out there.
Absolutely.
I know I'm getting on a tangent myself, but you have to pay attention to what these folks have built. And when it comes to folks in that rural area, they're trying to build a legacy. That needs to be protected.
Well, I will also say typically, and again, this I don't have any data on this. It's just my thought. But if you live in a rural area, especially very isolated and really rural, a lot of times those people, I should say those people. That doesn't.
Those
that population typically doesn't seek higher education. So there would be a lack of professionals as far as medical or mental health.
But that should, in our country,
I know, Matt, but you know what? If you go into some of these areas,
I've been there.
Yes, I know it's there's not a lot there.
No, I have relatives that live in that rural area, and I want them to thrive. I want them to have what they need. I am a resource for them to help them to find those resources. Yes, they might have to drive 3 hours away, but they have to make the conscious decision to do it.
Again, it just becomes more difficult, and that's the key to it. So speaking of, again, the other thing in many rural areas, they tend to be more conservative. That's not a judgment, but
that's a fact.
With that,
becomes that could be a fact.
A lot of that carries some stigma as far as mental health goes.
You're right.
Many people avoid treatment because they don't want to be judged. The big thing, though, is that again, and I go back to people in rural areas now have access to information they never had before.
You're right,
because of the internet, and I'm not. The internet can be a very dark place, but
Dave, does the session that you're going to have to help your mental health have to be in person?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
So for example, I'm licensed in Michigan. I can see anybody in Michigan.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if they're in Sault Ste. Marie.
Sure.
If they're in Michigan, I'm licensed to treat them. And we have telehealth services, which most practices do now.
There are services, apps that you could go on to, and you can see a license. What are some of those apps that are called that someone can log in and be like, I'm having issues? They can see a professional therapist on their phone within.
Yeah. One of them is called BetterHelp.
Thank you.
There's
BetterHelp.
another one
Is it
called
BetterHealth or Better?
There's a bunch of them. Now, I would caution people.
Yes.
Many of those pull in therapists who are just starting in their career and they're just looking to make some money.
That's fair.
The other thing with those is they promote it as being accessible, which means you can email or text your therapist anytime, anywhere. It's not an ideal. It's not an ideal arrangement to have effective therapy.
Okay. It's not like going onto your DoorDash app because
you're
a DoorDasher. You have an issue. It's not chatting with somebody, you know.
It's just, here's the thing. If you're looking to get therapy, do it right.
Okay.
And again, I'm not being critical of anyone because I don't know anybody who's worked on with these services, but I do know just from a lot of the groups I'm in, a lot of the professional development I do, that there's just a lot of question, that there's a lot of
there's not enough people like you, David.
Yes, I know. Well, no, I agree. So, and I'm not saying you shouldn't use those, but just know that it ends up being crisis intervention mostly more than anything. And very, very seldom does real therapy occur. You're just resolving the issue that's on their mind at that moment. And then, because again, with these BetterHelp and these other online services, you might only talk for 5 minutes. You might talk for 2 hours. There's no set structure.
I'm going to bring this all the way around.
Yep.
That person you just talked to online through that app, guess how they get paid? They have to provide a diagnosis.
I don't know for sure on that.
Neither do I, but I'm just kibitzing.
Right.
How do you think they get paid?
I don't know what their pay structure is.
But they get paid somehow.
They do get paid somehow. And that's interesting. I'll look into that. I have to plead ignorance on that. I've not looked that much into the structure of it. I just know that while it seems convenient and it seems great, and again, Michael Phelps promoted this.
He did.
Now, and again, I'm not going to criticize him. He got help. It worked for him. I would just say be careful because it's not the traditional way. And I'm not. And I'm not saying we can't be open to change and advancements,
because we're talking about trends.
Yes,
and that is a trend.
And I will be honest to you, even though we provide telehealth services and many of my clients opt for that, I don't believe that's an ideal scenario for therapy.
Not for everybody.
No, I don't. Honestly, I much rather have clients in person. To me, it's so much more effective. I can see you. I can see your body language. I can get reactions in real time. And talking to somebody over a screen, I think there's this disconnect and I can't describe it. I can't define it, but we're so used to watching things on our screens that are imaginary.
It's not human.
And when you talk to somebody over the phone or FaceTime or whatever, or Doxy, which is our HIPAA compliant telehealth program,
sure, you're
still talking screen to screen. And it just to me, I feel like it's just a little less personal.
Can I share with you that I've heard when someone's doing telehealth, and the therapist, the clinician, they're in a chair, they're sitting down, they're trying to take care of somebody on the screen, and that person on the screen is walking around their house. They're being distracted by kids or dogs or neighbors, or they're in their freaking car and they're driving. And they're trying to manage traffic and have a therapy session at the same time.
And let me add to that, Matt. They're in their car and then the signal keeps going out and they keep dropping the call. And then you got to reconnect. It's
the mentality of how you take care of yourself.
Yes. And I would say, and again, for some people, this is a good option. And I'm not saying get rid of telehealth totally. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
For some people, definitely people who have like major agoraphobia, they can't go out in public. Yes, that's a good option for you. But for most people, I would say therapy is going to be so much more effective in person. It's just, and it's my professional opinion, and somebody can argue with me and I'll defend it. But that's my feeling on it.
But if you are seeking telehealth,
yes,
put yourself in a situation where you will not have the distractions. Put yourself in a position where you know that you can give 100% to the person that is trying to help you on the other side of the screen.
Yes.
I just it breaks my heart just to hear those stories about people that are trying to help.
Yes.
And they have someone on the other side of that screen that are going anywhere else except taking care.
But part of that too, Matt, though, is and again, let me counter that a little bit. If I'm talking to somebody and they're walking around or they're talking to their kids, I will say to them, it doesn't seem like you have privacy right now. And for this to be effective, I need you to be in a private environment where we can be totally open.
100%.
But that probably doesn't happen with a lot of therapists and clients.
It probably doesn't.
And you're right. If you're distracted and you're focused on other things, that's why this will open up a whole nother can of worms. That's why I think working from home is not an ideal situation. It's convenient, but I know it's human nature. You're not going to be as productive at home as you are at work.
Telehealth became very, very prevalent in 2019 before COVID. It was already on the rise. Telehealth was.
Right.
2020 happened. And then it became the thing.
Yes.
And now it's just something that is there.
Yes.
And it is treated like shit.
Yeah. It opens up access to a lot of people who might not be able to get service. So again, I'm not dismissing it totally. I'm just saying the population who would benefit more from telehealth is probably very small rather than being in person.
Being in person is the best
for most people.
For agoraphobia,
there are exceptions to that.
Yes, on the agoraphobia side, but in order to get treated for a therapist like yourself or whoever in the world is doing what they have to do to take care of the person, not on the other side of the screen, in front of them, that is the best medicine.
Yes, that is my opinion. Yes, for sure.
And I agree with your opinion.
Yes.
Telehealth is not going away, David.
No, it's going to be here. It's a convenience, and I get it.
And we could do a full episode on the What's the what
I will look into that because I want to know if there's data because it's been a few years since COVID.
Sure.
I want to see if there's data that evaluates telehealth versus in-person results, whether that be medical, mental health.
There has to be standards set for telehealth. And I
well,
say
Matt,
that out
there are
loud.
standards met for therapists, but you still have therapists abusing clients. You know what I mean?
There are rules. There's rules when you're skiing on a mountain. There's rules when you're walking down the street.
And if people don't follow the rules, that's on them. But I mean, we can have all kinds of rules. But if somebody's just an idiot, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met therapists who've slept with clients.
That's a whole nother episode.
That's what I'm saying.
We're just gonna start.
We're starting a list. But I'm saying that it's like any other profession. There are bad ones out there.
Yeah.
That's all. That's just what I can say. So the important thing, and the reason we're focusing on these differences and this data points, is that mental health is becoming more accessible. Telehealth being one of the reasons. So even if you're in a rural area or you have a condition that prevents you from leaving your home, you can still get help.
Yes.
The big thing here is awareness is rising, and that's due, again, I have to give credit somewhat to internet and to social media, that awareness is rising, but the need is also rising as well, because as awareness rises, more people need help. And right now, for me to take a new client, it's probably a month out.
And that month from now,
things could be totally different.
And you'll still need to provide a diagnosis.
Yes, absolutely. So the big thing is, I don't care what system you use or what, if it's in person, if it's telehealth, or if you drive an hour, whatever. The important thing is, if you're having mental health issues, is to reach out, because I know this sounded very kind of negative, and I didn't mean it to sound like that. There's a lot of great therapists out there.
There really are.
It's just that you need to do your research. Look at referrals. That's one of the biggest ways that you can kind of evaluate. If people are saying good things, they're probably getting results.
The due diligence is needed. If you don't like who you're connected with, it's okay to ask for somebody else.
Or to go to a different place totally.
Correct.
And I know here's the challenge, because clients will come to me and they'll be like, "You're the 5th therapist I've seen in the last year. I hope you're not, and I'm like, I get it. Let's start fresh. Let me tell you what my approach is, and you can see if this is a good fit for you."
Well, that's what they said 3 times ago.
I know. Yeah, but that's what happens.
Because
unfortunately,
because every practice has the same practice.
Well, we're doing the same things. It's just done differently. Some therapists are not, how do I put this? You're not there to just bullshit.
No.
You're not there to just have a coffee talk for an hour. We're there to deal with issues.
The intake.
And here's the thing. A lot of times, and this is, I'm just guessing, this is what happens with a lot of therapists. They just get lazy. They kick back in their chair. They're just like, "Oh, how was your week?" "Well, what happened?" "Oh, that's cool." "Oh, you like sports? What do you think the Tiger's going to do this year?" Like it can be that inane, that banal. And there are therapists like that. And if you're talking to somebody like that, you need to switch.
I really love the fact that you actually sat back in your chair and you had that one-sided conversation now.
Right.
Because that is real.
Yes, that does happen. Now, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't talk about sports or something that they're interested in.
Sure.
I talk a lot of my clients about self-care activities. What do you do for self-care? How do you take care of yourself? So we might talk about movies or video game, but it's related to them addressing their mental health issues.
It's
not just to kill time.
Without them knowing it.
Well, that too.
That's the whole point.
But again, and here's the thing with therapists too. You have to create a connection. There's this impetus on the therapist to connect with the client so that they trust you. A lot of this is relation building.
What I really Just my brain just went in a different direction.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you have a gamer. They're into Final Fantasy,
Yeah,
all those fantasy
absolutely.
games. Final Fantasy VII was the best PC game
Mhm.
to be released. It's got the best story ever.
Yeah.
And you have a therapist that has no idea what a PlayStation 2 is.
Well, see, here's the thing, Matt, and here's where connections can be made and why therapists matter. If you have a therapist it doesn't matter what age they are.
Okay.
I'm just going to say you have a therapist who's never been married, doesn't have kids.
Uh-huh.
They can still help you,
Sure.
but they don't have a lot of life experience that's going to connect with you.
Uh-huh.
Now, I have a wife. I have a 23-year-old son who's a gamer. I've been exposed to a lot of different
environments,
or,
I'll say.
or subjects that would connect with adolescents right now.
You are a diamond in the rough.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I would hope I'm not the only one out there. I'm sure there are other ones. I have great therapists in my office right now.
Sure.
I mean, not always. Sometimes I've believe me, over the last 15 years, I've let go of a lot of people because they were just terrible.
Okay. And I appreciate you for that because you recognize that.
Yep.
You want to have people on your staff that are going to be able to connect with whoever they're speaking with.
Therapy is all about results. It's not just about talking. Talking is great, but there has to be some goal behind it.
God, we could go on for hours.
I know.
We're just going to talk in circles.
Yeah, we
here.
are. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the mental health trends. We're going to call it trends because statistics sounds very clinical and unpersonal. But we did talk about trends and things that are happening.
We did.
So that is that's that.
Who is it?
We'll wrap that up. Oh, before we go, somebody needs a home.
Okay, who is it?
Cash.
How much you got?
Cash needs a home.
How much you got?
He was born in 2020.
Okay.
So he's probably 6 years old.
He's $6 old.
He's a lab mix, 50 pounds, dog friendly, yes. Kid friendly, yes. Cat friendly, unknown.
Okay, so you said lab mix.
Lab mix.
Labrador retrievers are one of my favorite breeds in the world.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this face, Matt.
Okay.
Here's Cash.
Oh, come on. Arrgh. Look at Cash is I always say the word adorable. Cash is handsome.
Yes, he is.
That is a handsome
Isn't
looking
he?
puppy. For 6 years old, he's got that. He's got a little bit of humor in him.
Yeah.
He's got that little quirk in him that's gonna say, I'm going to make you laugh.
Uh-huh.
He's got humor in him. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I want to take Cash home.
There you go. Call him. DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt. Cash needs a home.
Yes.
And whenever I see these, especially like date of birth is really a big thing because he's like 5 or 6 years old. So I'm like, what happened? Where'd he come from? What's his story? I always want to know that.
He just wasn't with a family that was smarter than him.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
But he is a handsome looking dude.
He is a handsome dog.
He's a handsome dude.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
Put it back up there.
DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt. Cash needs a home.
Yes. Guys, he is a adorable, smart dog. Yeah. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. All righty, folks. That is our episode. Join us next Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Woo,
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us on Facebook Live on my Motor City Hypnotist Facebook page or the Podcast Your Voice Facebook page.
Yes, please.
In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time.